I'm a deep-sea researcher, not the kind people imagine with glowing screens and cinematic dives into alien oceans, but the kind who spends most days surrounded by reports, pressure charts, sediment data, and the endless hum of machines that simulate environments I may never truly see with my own eyes. I'd been working at my old institute for years. It wasn't glamorous, but it was stable, predictable, safe even. We studied ocean trenches, mapped seafloor activity, and ran simulations on pressure resistance for experimental equipment. Most of my life was numbers and quiet rooms. The ocean itself always felt just out of reach, like a truth I could measure but never actually touch. That changed the day I got the email. It came at 2:13 a.m. No subject line, no name. Just a blank sender address that looked like a broken chain of characters. Random, untraceable, almost like it had been generated and discarded at the same time. I remember staring at it longer than I should have. My screen brightness turned low so it wouldn't burn my eyes in the dark office. I almost deleted it, but curiosity has a way of slipping through even the most disciplined parts of the mind. I opened it. The message was short. A research opportunity in the Mariana Trench. Deep sea observational mission. Full funding. Immediate departure. Compensation far beyond standard institutional grants. No organization name. No academic affiliation. Just coordinates, a departure window, and a single line at the end. We require someone who understands pressure beyond theory. I leaned back in my chair, laughing under my breath at how absurd it sounded. The Mariana Trench wasn't a casual field site. It was the deepest place on Earth. Extreme pressure, crushing darkness, conditions that turned even the best equipment into uncertain guesses. And yet, the details were precise. Too precise to be a prank. The technical specifications of the vessel listed in the email matched experimental designs I'd only read about in restricted journals. Designs that were never approved for public deployment. I told myself it was fake, but I didn't delete it. For the next 2 days, I couldn't think of anything else. My routine blurred. Data sheets made no sense. Conversations passed through me without landing. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined the trench, not as a map or diagram, but as a real breathing void at the bottom of the world. On the third day, I replied. Just one line. I need confirmation of legitimacy. The response came in less than 10 minutes. No introduction, no reassurance, only coordinates and a time. That was the moment I should have stopped. Instead, I packed. I told no one at first, not because I was hiding something, but because I didn't know how to explain it without sounding like I had lost my mind. I submitted a temporary leave request, vague enough to be believable. I packed research notes, a few personal items, and the kind of practical gear I assumed any deep-sea assignment might require. The journey to the rendezvous point felt unreal. Each step away from my institute felt like I was leaving behind a version of myself that believed in boundaries between safe and dangerous, known and unknown. The location was not a port I recognized. It was industrial, quiet, too quiet. No signage, no institutional markings, just a long stretch of reinforced docking structures, extending into dark, water that looked heavier than normal sea. And then I saw it, the vessel. It wasn't like the research subs I was used to. Those were compact, almost delicate in design, built for controlled descent and limited exposure. This one looked reinforced beyond necessity. Thick plating, layered hull structure, no visible windows, just a shape built to survive, something that didn't want to be survived. Few figures stood near it. No uniforms I recognized, no badges. They didn't speak much. They didn't need to. One of them simply checked my name on a list and nodded toward the platform. No questions asked, no verification beyond that. I remember feeling something tighten in my chest then. Not fear exactly, but the recognition that I had crossed a line I couldn't uncross. Still, I walked forward. The air near the vessel was colder than I expected. Metallic, almost sterile, like standing inside a machine that hadn't started yet. A ramp extended toward an entrance, hatch that looked too narrow for something of that scale. Everything about it felt intentionally designed to avoid comfort. To avoid familiarity, one of the figures motioned silently. I adjusted the strap of my bag. My hands felt heavier than usual, like they understood the weight of what my mind was still refusing to fully accept. I paused at the base of the ramp. For a moment, I thought about turning back, about walking away from the water, from the silence, from the unanswered questions that had pulled me here. But then I looked at the vessel again, and I stepped aboard. When I stepped into the ship, the captain greeted me briefly and showed me to my quarters. His expression was calm, almost unreadable, like he had done this 1,000 times before. And nothing about it required emotion anymore. When I asked questions about the trip, about the purpose, the risks, the exact nature of what we were going to study, he didn't answer. He only said, "It will be explained to you in the briefing." There was something final in his tone, like questioning further was pointless. I didn't push it. I carried my things into the small room assigned to me. It was simple and functional. A bed fixed tightly to the wall, a small desk bolted to the floor, and a storage compartment that barely fit my bag. Everything inside felt designed for stability rather than comfort, as if the ship itself expected constant movement and pressure. After placing my belongings down, I stepped back out to meet the other members I would be working with. They were already gathered in a narrow common area. Most of them looked like specialists, engineers, technicians, and a few researchers like me. No one seemed particularly talkative. There was a shared silence among them, not awkward, but cautious, like everyone was waiting for something unspoken to be confirmed. A short while later, the briefing began. We were told only what was necessary. The mission would begin tomorrow. It was a government-funded deep-sea expedition. Our roles would be assigned and carried out aboard the ship itself. Each of us had been selected for specific expertise, though no detailed explanation was given beyond that. I was assigned as one of the deep-sea researchers on the vessel. There were no further questions answered. Any attempt to ask more was met with the same response: wait for the next stage. When the briefing ended, people slowly dispersed without conversation, returning to their assigned quarters. I went back to my room. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the faint mechanical hum of the ship. Every vibration felt distant but constant, like something enormous moving silently beneath us. My mind refused to settle. There were too many unanswered questions, too many gaps that no one seemed willing to fill. And yet, I was already here, already part of it. I went to sleep that night with a lot of questions still lingering in my mind. I could hear the sound of waves that morning. The sea outside was restless. It was a stormy day, but not too stormy, just enough to make everything feel uneasy, like the ocean was hiding something beneath its surface. The ship rocked gently, and every movement carried a low, deep groan through the metal walls. I got up and made my way to the common area. The lighting was dimmer than usual, and the air felt colder. One by one, I saw the crew members I would be working with. They looked just as uncertain as I felt. We started talking quietly among ourselves, trying to figure out if anyone knew what this project was really about. No one did. Every answer was the same. No one had been given proper details. Just like me, they had been called, assigned, and brought here without explanation. A heavy silence settled over us. Then the captain's voice suddenly came through the speakers, sharp and clear, breaking through the quiet. He told us to proceed to the briefing room. We gathered quickly. The atmosphere changed the moment we stepped inside. It felt more serious, more controlled. The captain didn't waste time. He told us what would happen today. There was an underwater research lab located near the Mariana Trench. That would be our base of operations. We would reach it using a submarine stationed on the ship. No one spoke. We just listened. After the briefing, we were guided to the submarine. We boarded with all our belongings. The interior was tight and metallic, designed for function rather than comfort. The hatch closed behind us with a heavy sound that made my chest tighten for a moment. As we descended, the ocean outside slowly changed. At first, it was just dark water pressing against the glass. But as we went deeper, the view opened up into something strange and almost beautiful. The sea looked alive in a way I had never seen before. shadows of distant fish, glowing particles drifting like stars, and endless layers of blue-black water stretching into nothing. It was beautiful in a way that felt wrong, like something that wasn't meant to be witnessed so closely. No one on board spoke much. Everyone just watched. Eventually, shapes began to appear in the distance. At first, I thought it was part of the natural rock formations beneath the ocean floor. But as we got closer, it became clear it was something built, a structure, then another, and finally, the underwater research lab came into full view. I had expected something small, compact, maybe a single facility anchored to the seafloor, but I was wrong. It was massive. A complex network of connected modules, glowing faintly with artificial light, spread across the ocean floor like a hidden city beneath the sea. Thick, reinforced walls, docking stations, and observation towers extended in different directions. It looked less like a lab and more like an entire underground facility that had been forgotten by the surface world. For a moment, I just stared at it through the submarine window, unable to process its scale. We docked slowly. The hatch opened, and we were guided out. The transition from the submarine into the lab felt surreal. The air was heavier, filtered, and completely silent except for the faint hum of machinery hidden behind the walls. Everything was clean, organized, and almost too perfect, like it had never been disturbed. We were shown around the facility without much explanation. Hallways stretched farther than expected. Doors opened with automated precision, and every section looked identical, yet unfamiliar. Finally, we were taken to our assigned rooms. I stepped inside mine. It was small, but structured, just like the rest of the facility. A bed fixed against the wall, a desk, storage space, and a faint light that never fully turned off. I sat there for a moment, staring at the walls, trying to make sense of everything I had seen. Eventually, I lay down on the bed. The silence of the deep ocean around me felt heavier than sleep itself, and I woke up the next day,